With Anzac Day approaching this week, we thought we'd seek at this point in the program some perspective from someone who's lived through this sort of crisis and in fact much worse before. 95-year-old Jim Kerr spent years working on the infamous Thai-Burma Railway as a prisoner of war. I caught up with Jim earlier. Jim, it's great to talk to you again. Thanks for being on the show tonight. How are you coping with isolation at the moment?
I'd say the main thing I'm missing is family. Not being able to visit family and also not having them come to visit me.
Jim, we're obviously coming into Anzac Day this week, and I wonder whether there are lessons that you took with you from the prisoner of war camps that you are still using today in isolation.
I am, because nothing with what I've got left of my lifetime could compare anywhere near what we went through, those of us that worked on the Thai-Burma Railway. I mean, that was sheer hell. We always kept our morale up. We never, ever lost our spirit. And if ever I was proud to be an Australian, it was as an Australian prisoner of war.
So how do you compare the restrictions that we're living through right now with the sorts of restrictions that you've experienced in your lifetime?
I grew up in the Great Depression, and what I remember of the Great Depression is going to school and telling them that I couldn't pay for my school books. I can remember going to the cake shop, asking did they have any stale cakes. We didn't have running hot water, never knew what running hot water was until I joined the army. So I have lived through times where I know how life can be very, very hard. We're going through some trying times at the moment, and this is just testing everybody's mettle now on whether they're going to either stand or fall by the wayside.
Jim, I'm interested to hear from your perspective how you think Australians are coping in this time of crisis.
That toilet paper issue, I can't get over it, honestly. I really can't. If that's what people have come to, that they sink to that level to fight over a packet of toilet rolls, for God's sake, let's get real.
Jim, during your time detained, you obviously found strengths and qualities within yourself that maybe you didn't know you had. What do you say to the Australian public for this moment? What do we need to look for in ourselves? Well,
I think it's Australian mateship, the way we have always pulled together. Australians, we're renowned for it. Everything I've got, I don't take it for granted. I appreciate very, very much what I've had in life, but I never forget why and how this all came about. We went to war and we fought for that word again, freedom. Freedom.
Jim, it's been terrific to catch up with you. Please take care of yourself and I look forward to catching up with you next year.
Yeah, thanks, Hamish.
Simon, there's been a lot of comparisons about then and now. I mean, hearing from Jim, it really does put things into perspective.
Is it? What a great bloke to hear from. Look, I've had the privilege of having Hellfire Pass opened up early one morning, and myself and just one Air Force officer walked through the mists in the cool, and there's an audio accompaniment. And two of the voices that leapt out as I listened to it over this couple of kilometres, all shaped by prisoners of war and slave labour. One was Sir John Carrick, who was one of the founders of the Liberal Party, and the other one was Tom Uren, one of the great heroes of the Labor Party and the left. And hearing them both in my ears talking, it made me realise that generation, people like him, had this formative experience where they'd been stripped back to know what was really important, the essential humanity. And somewhere along the line in all of the time of plenty that we've enjoyed, I think we've lost some of that now. Our politics became more about the machine and our markets and things. They forgot the purpose for which they originally created. And look at Adam Smith, you know, to increase the stock of common goods. So many things have been forgotten. So I think to hear a man like that remind us and to say that there does need to be some kind of a glue which unites us all together, particularly at a time like this. And there's been some terrible things I've seen, for example, Asian Australian people being abused just because of the way they look when the virus doesn't care about you know, their family history. There are other Australians, they're bearing the same burden. He would never have put up with that. And I think that we've got to rediscover, and maybe we will in this moment, rediscover some of those virtues of that older generation, and things will matter more because of what we've been through.
The other thing was, what did he say mattered when everything else was stripped back?
Freedom,
mateship.
Yeah.
Mateship was his mates and sticking together and supporting each other.